Reds.
Possibly.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports War. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due. Law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well, baby. Great morning, great night, dude. I'm super pumped to be here talking some sports, dude. And we're breaking down, obviously, one of the toughest, but also one of my favorite divisions in the MLB.
I like how,
dude.
like, when you're talking, hyping up the NL East, you put the box up to block my face. Just a complete takeover, dude. Kind of like me producing last night on the gaming corner. If anybody didn't catch that, definitely a lot of laughs. So you want to do that NHL tournament. And a little spoiler here, I still am terrible at NHL 23.
But you scored it. And you know what, dude? I would say, like, that game, was definitely the tightest game we've played, up until the end there.
Apart.
It really all just...
What was I doing, dude?
I don't know. I think, honestly, you look good, dude. You had some good offensive pushes, but I just think at the end there, maybe the goal discouraged you. And, yeah, I think I tied it up, and then it was the quick go-ahead goal, too. So
is it as simple as I need to be more active on defense?
Like,
yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, at that point, it's so tough because I feel like when everyone starts out, that the game is so fast paced. So like if you snap to be a defender, like you change your guy, try to do something that doesn't work, do the next guy, and you all of a sudden you have five guys following one guy with the puck. Someone's gonna end up being open. You really have to play some smart, patient hockey defense. Honestly, for the game, it's pretty intense. Sometimes I'll be the guy at the point and I'll defend the point and I'll try defend that zone sort of deal,
Yeah.
You really can't just have every guy just chase the puck. So it's definitely an adjustment period, Brian.
Yeah. there's been quite the adjustment period, but at least I can feel like all the other games. Gears, I guess I would say I'm still probably better at Gears than I am.
Dude, that was a fun night playing Gears, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited to play Gears 1. That is going to be something. And of course, busy show today, and we're going to talk, about the NL East, of course. But I actually kind of catching you off guard here, and I wanted to get into this yesterday, but
boy,
I think I got thrown off because then we kind of interrupted what we were doing because we wanted to get Michael's take on the fights and the Knicks. I just quickly, if you could, I tagged you on Twitter. We could just go through Orlovsky one more time, Tony.
Oh my goodness! All right,
I want to, because it seems very deep, very rooted. So I just kind of want to get to the bottom of this.
So it kind of started with, it started probably well over a year ago.
Okay.
I know we're kind of backtracking here, but this is back when Mike and I would be going to the gym together and everything. Mm-hmm. And obviously they have ESPN on,
right?
The TVs there, and I'm just like, I see Dan Orlovsky, and at that time I don't really know much about him. But I just knew, I never really thought he was a great sportscaster. I thought he was kind of seemed like a know-it-all guy. Some of his takes were kind of bad. They ended up some of his takes were wrong, So I was like, oh, how really good is this guy? How reliable is he? And then, he wears he constantly wears sneakers with suits, which I don't like. And he does his ridiculous quarterback breakdowns, whatever. And I'm like, oh, Mike, dude, this guy, I can't with him, dude. I don't take him seriously at all. And he goes, Dan Orlovsky? I was like, oh, yeah. You're a fan? He goes, no, but he's from Shelton, I think, right? Shelton went to Shelton High or something.
And then quarterback at UConn.
Yeah, QB at UConn, went into the league for a hot second, dude, was not good.
Went out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah, had that. That was kind of his almost notorious play, right? When his notoriety definitely was gained for that. And Mike was like, yeah, dude's a chief, Shelton Valley, such a loser, whatever, dude. So just kind of, then I just started making fun of this guy. And again, dude, he's still, he has some good takes. I guess it's cool maybe some people think, oh, Connecticut guy is on ESPN. But I mean, I think, like I said, some of his takes are bad. And this past weekend, I guess, I don't even remember what day it was. Maybe it was like later in the week. It doesn't matter. But he tweets out a picture of Colony Pizza.
Right.
And he goes, oh, this may be the greatest pie, the best pie in Connecticut. Which, I mean, Brian, dude, like, I love Colony. The whole, and it's not even like I don't love Colony just for the pizza. I love it for the fact that it is just pizza, beer, and wine. It's a great spot. TVs. It's a great neighborhood.
You can go mix
hangout spot, dude. Yeah, you can't go mixed street at full bar.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never did. Pictures, dude.
No, I know.
Come on.
Beer and pizza. Beer and pizza. And wine.
Yeah,
if you want.
So I absolutely love that. And the salad pie. I mean, they do, they do it right. They know exactly what they're good at. They stick to it. They're consistent. You know exactly what you're getting. I mean, definitely, a go-to spot if you just want to sling a few pies, hang out, whatever, dude. But I think for Dan Orlovsky to come on to Twitter and try and say that that's the best pie in Connecticut, I think is rather ridiculous. Just because it's not, dude. There's so many better pies. And I appreciate, honestly, like, and again, you know me, like, I appreciate not taking the lazy take of, oh, Frank Pepe's is, oh my God, New Haven, dude. But just come on, Dan. Like, honestly, dude, like, you really don't, like, he's not really helping his case at all with us. And I'm honestly really interested to see, like, what the rest of Connecticut people, like, think of Dan Orlovsky. I mean, I would imagine the bulk of them probably don't really know him as much because, not everyone's, like, really that, in depth in sports, and let alone.
Whoa. I think we're at this point.
Let alone
society,
ESPN anchors,
we're pretty in
dude.
depth in Connecticut here on sports.
Did you see what I tagged you about Sports Center though this morning?
I saw the tag quickly. You know what I hate? I don't know if I'm just doing something wrong. I always have a tough time. Like, let's say you tag me in something,
right?
It seems like I can never like just click that,
snap right to it.
And yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I don't really ever have an issue with that.
Because but when I go to it,
just on Twitter.
Yeah, it just shows, okay, you tagged me in it, but then like it doesn't take me to the original thing you're commenting on. I have to like go to your profile, go to tweets and replies, and then it'll show up.
Really?
Yeah.
That's tough, dude.
But like when I tag you on something, you just go instantly?
Yeah, like this way, you just tagged me, you just commented maybe some golf, and I just hit it, and there's maybe some golf, and the rest of the thread right there.
Oh, maybe I just don't scroll up because I just saw you just scroll up.
You see this?
Yes.
You see this, and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
That's it. Yep. I don't even try. That's it. Done. At least I know.
Yeah, I would figure that out, dude.
But yeah, I don't know. I think.
What do you think of Dan?
Well, first of all, I think everybody. He's definitely well known. First of all, second of all,
is he?
I could see how you're saying he's a cheap. I guess it's like I just was taken back originally. Like, wow, like this is some strong like distaste. So I think we could kind of get to a common ground, maybe around a golf with Dan or get him on the sports port. I think we could get him there. I think
if he calls in, I'll meet him at Colony. Okay, yeah. Like I'm down.
And I don't think too, like when I actually I know this sounds nuts because I'm on top of the the food in Connecticut for sure. But like when you say best in Connecticut, like it's like to be honest, I don't think I have a definitive answer. So and I would agree that the Colony's in the conversation. So I guess I just for giving him a hard time on that and being that, like you just said, like you enjoy Colony. I don't know. I don't think it's that ridiculous. Because for a while, honestly, I probably have thought that Colony was my favorite. I've always really enjoyed the hot oil pizza from there. I don't think
you're defending Dan.
I just think you guys are, I don't know. You're coming in hot, I guess I get.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know, you know what I mean? If it needs to be that crazy, Tony.
I think that, there's better people out there that could represent the state of Connecticut. Okay.
I do know, but I do understand because I've seen some of his segments. Like, he definitely can chief it, but I guess I just wouldn't take it to the depth that you're going. That's all. But I understand the chief part.
No,
I do get it.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I can't. It's the second because when he talks, it's just like he's talking at you, right? And it's like what he's saying is so like prolific, and you got to listen to him. Yeah, and it's like you're not Costas, and he's loud, and he just oh gosh, dude, it's too much. I can't. And again, I don't know. It really the sneakers with the suits, dude.
But I wonder if everybody does that.
Everyone does. So many people do. You see it all the time. Yeah. And I don't know who started it. I don't know who's allowing it. But I think we got to stop with that.
Comfort, though. I know,
Listen,
but there's shoes.
There's comfortable shoes. Okay. My father, all right, goes to work every day in dress shoes, and he walks around all day in New York City. And he comes home totally fine. He has comfortable dress shoes.
Do we know a brand?
None Bush.
No, I've heard of None Bush.
Gel inside. I have them too.
Wait, he inserted it or they came like
no,
that?
come with it. It has a gel soles in there already, dude.
Okay.
And I obviously I got a pair for what I got a nice black pair, sleek, classy, and it's just like comfort. And it's just, I don't know. I feel like, it's just tacky sneakers and suits. And I even when they do the thin hoodie with the suit jacket on that too, that's borderline like, what are you doing almost, Like just wear like an overcoat or just wear a button-down shirt with no tie.
I've never had an overcoat. Always wanted one though.
Dude, overcoats are sick. I have one. I got one for Christmas a few years ago. It's amazing.
I can see you getting riled to put it on.
Dude, oh my God. First of all, classy and they're warm as fuck, dude. Yeah, the scarf, dude. Of course, dude. God, you walk around like that, you feel like a man.
Oh man, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. But yeah, just wanted to talk about that. And I'm sure when Michael catches up, with this episode, he'll have something to say.
Yes.
Regarding.
I'm ready from the call in about it, dude.
Yeah.
Dan Orlovsky.
Regarding Orlovsky. But let's get started now in the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. A back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, sayonara. Where did that land?
Stuck to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right. So our last division, I can't believe it. And as you see in the background, Citi Field, National League East. So Tony's.
He's a little tight about it, dude. We could have done the AL East last, we could have.
No, it's just how it happened to work out. No, and I'm not tight. Honestly, I think there's a lot of talent in this division, so it is fun to talk about.
Would you say he's the most talented? Honestly, like non-biased here.
So, I mean, the West is definitely up there.
Yeah, the West is really good too.
NL Central, no.
Not really, dude.
And then you think about American League West is pretty strong as well. And then top two teams in the AL East are pretty good.
Still kind of lopsided.
AL Central. So in the conversation, I think it's tough to say, but I guess it's kind of interesting because you look at it from a talent perspective and the fact that you had 3 teams make the playoffs, but then nobody win a playoff series. Well, 2 teams not win a playoff series. Obviously, Phillies go to the World Series. So, and they were the worst of the 3, which was interesting. But anyway, so it's just, it's tough to gauge these things, but we'll give it our best try. We'll start with the champions of the division from last year, the Braves. The run they went on was obviously unbelievable. Very disappointing end in the postseason, losing the first round. But what was it from like May on or something? It was like a ridiculous run, something along those lines. Were they 9 back of the Mets at one point?
Dude, I think they were like 12 back of the Mets.
Unbelievable. And you think about top to bottom, really one of the most talented rosters in the league. And it's like hard to really find that many weaknesses. Just starting with the pitching, Max Fried, pretty solid.
Right.
Spencer Strider, your guy, had a nice year last year.
Big re-signing for him too.
Big re-signing. Charlie Morton, I guess you could say he's getting up there. Ian Anderson's a little inconsistent.
Right.
Kyle Wright, I guess, is dealing with some type of injury at the moment, but
he'll probably be the 4 starter of the match.
They have him penciled in as the 4. So just he was actually 21-5 last year. You kind of forget about that 3.19 ERA. But when you look at the rotation, would you say that it's pretty strong other than the fact that Ian Anderson, great year a couple years ago, very inconsistent of recent. You just don't know what you're going to get there. And then the fact too, Charlie Morton approaching age 40, you don't know, when he's going to lose it either. So those are kind of some question marks.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny because you really think about the rest of the teams and their starting rotations. Everyone's got like pretty solid rotations. Obviously, about Miami and Sandy Alcantara. About the Mets. What the Phillies have done. But I think the Braves, I don't know. I think you could argue that they have one of the, obviously, they have the seasons to show for it too. One of the better, more consistent starting rotations, I think, in this division. So I know there's some hairy spots there. You mentioned Wright with an injury. Who really is their solidified 5th starter?
Anderson had a 5 ERA last year, but he's 24, so he could bounce back.
Exactly. So there's a question mark there, but other than that, I mean, you would expect business as usual for the rest of the rotation. So yeah, I mean, this kind of looks like one of the better rotations in the division.
Yeah, and you think about lining up a postseason series, and I'm actually kind of confused why Wright wouldn't be the third starter over Charlie Morton. I would imagine he had a better year. I was just going to check Morton's numbers from last year. Yeah, 9-6, 4.34, 205 strikeouts. But Kyle Wright, clearly the better pitcher last year, an ERA, more than a run better.
Yeah.
So nevertheless, I mean, you're starting, 3 guys in division series. You're going to feel pretty good about that. As far as the bullpen's concerned, they really remade it at the trade deadline last year between Iglesias, Jimenez, just to name a couple. And then, they've had AJ Minter. They bring over Lucas Licky from the Yankees. I think, as a guy that's going to pitch like the 6th inning, he's as good as it's going to get for that point in the game. And then you have Colin McHugh, the former Astro as well. So I think the bullpen is solid. Iglesias, I think, is decent, but it's just one of those things. We know with relievers, they are very fluid. Iglesias last year, the numbers were great. 2.47, 0.97 whip. He is 33 years old. So you just never know. So maybe, they need to, bring somebody in. Minter had a great year in the pen as well. But I think we can agree.
Very solid year.
The bullpen is solid. Jimenez has made an all-star team in the past. So you never know there. So I think we could say pitching overall between the rotation, bullpen, pretty good. The offense might be one of the deepest, and you think just position player, offense and defense, in terms of the pitching. And I was just looking there. I see Soroka.
I'm trying to get an update on him.
Because he didn't pitch last year?
No, so he tore his Achilles
twice
2 years ago.
Right.
Missed the whole season 2 years ago, and then spring training of last year tore it again.
Okay.
While pitching, stepping off the mound. So he missed he missed 2 full seasons. I mean, this is a guy who came into the league, I think, when he was like 19, 20 years old. Good news. Brian Sticker confirmed Sort recently threw off the mound. A short box bullpen session. Short box Soroka threw off the mound, but the catcher moved in closer.
It basically seems like it's like he's not going to be ready for opening day, but maybe he could even pitch in the first month.
Take him out of the running for the 5th starter. Yeah, sounds
spot
like
to
it,
start,
right?
But I mean, geez, you would think if he's right, I mean, he's better than Ian Anderson.
Dude,
so
if he's right, he was like competing to be their ace.
Can you pull up his numbers from a couple years ago? I want to say he had a really good rookie season.
Let's see. Minor league stats. Let's see. Here we go.
Atlanta
18.
What was it? I guess that was 2019.
2019. Atlanta went 13-4, 2.68 ERA. 29
so
starts.
He's not a strikeout guy, but is obviously he had good numbers. So and he's 25 this year. He'll be so. Time is still there for him. So that's an interesting story to watch. But I mentioned the offense. They did bring in Sean Murphy. From the A's. So you think about the platoon, him with his defense. You got Darno as well.
I know.
So I think the catching position is really solid.
Yeah.
Matt Olson, his former teammate in Oakland.
Yeah.
Kind of in terms of the batting average, struggled a little bit last year, but you'd expect him to kind of have a stronger second season. Now he's further removed from the shadow of Freddie Freeman.
Right.
Ozzie Albies had some injuries last year, but we know he's still one of the better second basemen in the league. Austin Riley had an outstanding year last year, arguably the best third baseman in the league in terms of his power production as well. Vaughn Grissom really burst onto the scene. And I guess there was some talk about him potentially starting in AAA. I don't see it. I mean, he was so strong when he came up for our CS stop. I feel like that's a wasted conversation.
Yeah.
And then the outfield of Rosario, Harris, and Acuna. And it's interesting too. Rosario was definitely decent. Harris, I think, was great. For the stint he came up.
Yeah.
But Acuna. I think this is a big year for him. He signed that long-term contract years ago, so gave up some arbitration years and, had some injuries as well. So if you really look at it, he's only 25, but, hasn't played, basically a full season since 2019. So last year, 266, 15 and 15, but a slug of 413. Obviously that's pretty weak. All of his other slugging percentage had been at least 518. So you'd expect, a rebound there, 41 and 101 back in 2019. So really looking to kind of solidify himself as one of the better outfielders in the game once again. And I expect that, I think as long as he's healthy this year, I don't see what's stopping him from that. Marcelo Zuna, it's interesting how he's stayed on the team.
Yeah.
He dealt with the domestic violence issue. And 226, 23 and 56, does he have anything left at age 32? That, remains to be seen, but the rest of the offense is very strong. So if he does something similar to that, I think they'll take it. But Michael Harris, Tony, I mentioned him.
Oh, rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year, 21 years old, 297, 19 and 64 last year.
Unbelievable.
And I don't believe
dude.
he broke. He didn't break camp with the team last year. Played 114 games, OPS 853, and a WAR of 5.3 in 114 games. So great on defense, great on offense. So this Braves offense might be the deepest in the National League. So definitely a force to be reckoned with, and definitely have really set themselves up here to possibly repeat as division champs. Obviously the other teams in the division will have something to say about that. So just moving along, in terms of the order of finish last year, obviously the Mets by one game finished in second last year, and they definitely had a very interesting offseason. Of course, the big news was Jacob deGrom heading to the Texas Rangers, but they do replace him with Justin Verlander, who now was he Cy Young last year for Verlander?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So he did win the Cy Young. He's going to be age 40 this year. But him and Scherzer at the top of your rotation. Senga, is gonna, comes over from Japan.
Looking pretty good.
He's supposed to be your third starter. And do you know much about him? Like, is he a power pitcher, finesse? What do you know about Kodai Senga?
It seems like he has a little bit more finesse.
Okay.
I think he reaches like 96 on the gun with the fastball. I think maybe you've seen it hit 97, I think, in spring training. But he's got like that fork ball, they're calling it. It's almost like this really weird, like slider screwball-esque. It's definitely something that is unique to that pitcher, and something that, that was in his arsenal that obviously a lot of people looked at in terms of having him, using it as a weapon in his, kind of pitch selection. And I think it's been working pretty well so far in spring training. I think the other day, I don't know, maybe 2 innings with 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, something like that. So he's got great movement, certainly fooling batters. And I think, with some more time, I think he's going to be a really, really like lethal starter.
Yeah, and I think, that's what they're hoping for. He's 30 years old. So, he's kind of right in the middle of his career.
Yeah.
And the Mets are expecting big things out of him this year. Now, I guess they have Carrasco slotted in as the 4th starter.
Correct.
And then Quintana, supposed to be the 5th starter, just broke a rib out till the All-Star break. So is it as simple as David Peterson at 5?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, how do you feel about that?
Again, he's looked good in spring training right now. And I don't know. It's so tough, dude. I mean, you look at the guy, last season, just watching him play, he was just so inconsistent, unfortunately. It was that same deal where, you would see bright spots of him when they throw him to start a game, even out of the bullpen. But then there's like, getting the dog days of July when they got double headers, and you're looking at it, and it's, David Peterson pitching, and you just have like no confidence in him, So I'm not totally happy about it. It's unfortunate that McGill kind of had that injury last season that put him out for a while. I think it kind of stunted his development a little bit. I think if he played all season, it would have been a snap call for McGill to be the 5th starter.
I kind of like McGill out of the bullpen, though, with the velocity. I think he could be a pretty good setup guy. Now, just at the top of the rotation, obviously, you think about Verlander and Scherzer, both, 40 or approaching 40. And Scherzer, I think it was 143 innings. Verlander was like 185. As far as like innings targets for them, and of course, there's an eye on a postseason here. You got, you want it to be fresh for that. But do you have any kind of innings goals that you'd like to see out of the two of them?
For Verlander and Scherzer?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just look at what how many innings pitched, Verlander had last season.
175.
Looks like 175, which is
And then
honestly,
postseason, you
right.
up over 200.
Yeah. So that's really good. I would imagine. I think Scherzer was like
143.
Really? Thought it was
Yeah.
less than that.
I
143.
I think so. I could be wrong, unless it was 130. But
But I mean, either way, I mean, I would say that's obviously Scherzer there. On the lower end, yeah, 145 and a third.
okay, yeah.
So it's still pretty good, especially with his injury. At that age, he had a abdominal strain, whatever, dude. At that age, for him to kind of gut it out, I mean, you got to appreciate that. I think still, pushing 150 innings was pretty solid. Out of these two guys, again, it's gonna be kind of tough. You would if they both stay healthy, you're thinking high 160s
Yeah.
for innings for sure.
Yeah.
But I do think that, given the fact, you see Verlander and how, I mean, he was healthy last season. He went through the postseason and everything. It is good to know that even though he is on the older upper echelon in terms of age, if Scherzer were to get injured, which we've seen before, seems like, Verlander won't be having an issue, kind of gutting it out, which is nice.
Now, Carrasco, finished strong in terms of, ERA under 4, 15-7. I know obviously you haven't been a fan.
No.
But with him at 4, possibly Peterson at 5, and I know Quintana eventually back in the mix, are you concerned about the end of that rotation? Would you feel better? And are you almost forecasting that potentially end of spring training, they could bring in a veteran arm, possibly has another option at the end of that rotation?
I would be happy with that. It's so funny because I feel like, last season, again, it's almost like the same deal where we have a rotation set. You're feeling kind of good about it. And then a couple injuries come along and kind of screw you up for opening day here. I mean, it's so I hate to be like jumping the gun for like opening day, but we got to get someone else. We got to do it. I think we should wait it out for now. Having Quintana, I think, and seeing some things from some of these guys. I mean, Joey Lucchesi had, I think so far, pretty solid spring training. Bryce Montes de Oca as well. You saw some good stuff from him. Nogasek solid, I guess, but I think you can kind of work around not having Quintana right now and see what Cookie looks like when he comes out to start the season. Again, I'm trying to stay pretty positive about it. I think we'll still be fine.
So it'll be interesting to see how that back end performs and when Quintana comes back. The bullpen, I would imagine you feel pretty good. Of course, Diaz with the historic season last year.
Oh, yeah.
As your closer,
But,
you bring back Ottavino, ERA around 2 last year
solid.
was great. His first year as the Mets. You bring in David Robertson, a veteran reliever, and I think David Robertson on this team. I mean, you kind of have him slotted as a perfect role as the 7th inning guy. I think he struggled at times closing games or even being the 8th inning guy, but as a 7th inning guy, I think the pressure will be off, and it's nice to have a veteran presence there. Drew Smith, I think, was pretty good out of the pen at times last year. And then you have McGill, as well as an option out of the pen. So in terms of your bullpen, obviously very good kind of 7, 8, 9. How do you feel about the rest of the arms? Do you feel like that's an area where they might potentially add someone as well?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, even looking back on last season too, I feel like our bullpen was always kind of struggling, Again, other than sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. Other than Diaz, there were times where even Ottavino was struggling. Seth Lugo last season, who obviously is not with us anymore, but he was struggling. And he was one of our better bullpen arms, So I think Drew Smith, I actually haven't looked at his numbers in a while. Just kind of taking a little peek here. 3.33 ERA, over 46 innings pitched, 53 strikeouts. So I guess not horrible numbers at the end of the day. I still feel like, there were times where the kid kind of blew it a little bit. Coming in while we have the lead and, kind of blowing it. But I don't know. We'll see maybe how he can handle that mentally this season, because it seems like the numbers are pretty solid, honestly. But I don't know. We'll see, dude. I mean, I think it's a big question mark. I do enjoy David Robertson. Again, adding to the age of the team. But you'd expect Ottavino to have a great year as well. Like I said, Nogasek has kind of had a solid spring training as well as Bryce. So I think you have a few other names you can kind of maybe look towards. So you're hopeful. Again, you're certainly hopeful.
Now moving on to the offense, to the pleasure of you finally move on from James McCann after he's embarrassed himself the last couple of years. So you replaced him with Omar Navarez, who has been solid offensively in the past, struggled last year, but they're hoping for a rebound season out of him. Nito returns as a backup, and then also Francisco Alvarez, obviously their top prospect. Now, do you envision him as kind of a hybrid role where he'll catch some games, but also be a big part of their designated hitter plans?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as much as you enjoy the personality of Daniel Vogelbach, I think, having Alvarez in there.
He lost some weight or no?
He lost like almost 30 pounds.
He probably will be. Have you seen him? Like, is it noticeable?
Yeah, definitely noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. You love to see that, guy kind of, working at it. And again, he's got a terrific personality. You can tell the rest of the guys in the clubhouse love him. And he's even said it too. Excuse me. He loves to have a specific role with the team. Obviously, he found one with the Mets, and he's, absolutely stoked to fill that role, which is obviously your DH spot. So I'll take it. And again, it was someone who looked pretty solid when he first came to the Mets last season, at the trade deadline. Had hit a few dingers to start off, had a really good eye at the plate, but then kind of fizzed out a little bit in terms of hitting home runs. And you can tell, just by the way his play was, he's like, oh, I'm not hitting home runs. Like, I got to swing hard at these balls. And then he's swinging the pitches outside the zone. He's not taking good pitches, bad eye. So I think maybe you can work on it a little bit. You'd expect that work in the offseason. You can tell, obviously, he was working hard with the weight loss. But I do think, Alvarez and them are a nice 1-2 punch because, Darren Ruff isn't doing shit at DH
it's
either.
It's amazing that he's even on the roster.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. And honestly, I would expect Alvarez to catch a lot of games. Like, let's get him in there, man. I'm not like, why are we holding back at this point?
Yeah. No, and it's a similar situation like with the Yankees, Peraza, Volpe, that type of thing. So I understand that. Of course, Alonso, best hitter that you have at first. McNeil batting title last year.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know he was 30 years old. It doesn't seem like he's that old. I just looked it up.
Really?
But I guess he's been around for a little bit. And then your guy Eddie Escobar at third.
Yeah.
Hot at times, terrible at others. So you never know where you're gonna get there. But you also have Brett Beatty as an option. I don't know if he'll start with the team or start in AAA. Lindor really looking to have his breakout year with the Mets, proved upon his first season with the team. The outfield, kind of comes back for another year. You added Tommy Pham as well. Marte was good at times, but struggled with injuries last year. You lock up Nimmo to that big extension. I know you've always been very high on him. So in terms of, the offense, and specifically the outfield, I mean, are you comfortable there? Are you a little nervous? How do you feel about the offensive production you're going to get?
I mean, again, kind of like what you were saying, I think, Lindor's stock has been rising each year here. He did have a big uptick in production. Just looking at it last season.
Franchise record in RBIs for a shortstop or just RBIs in general?
No, RBIs as a shortstop.
As a shortstop.
Yeah. Okay. At 107 RBIs, he only had 26 home runs, average 270, slugging on base percentage is 788. Sorry. On base percentage is 389. OPS is 788.
It's kind of, I know it's barely, but he's like technically younger than McNeil. It's kind of interesting.
It is pretty interesting. Why?
Been around longer.
Yeah.
It seems like McNeil would be younger. I don't know.
You think that? I feel like McNeil would be older. Dude.
Wow. All right. I mean, they're basically the same age.
They are basically the same age. Anywho, again, you expect, something like this, obviously, RBIs. I mean, I really don't see why Lindor cannot have around 107 RBIs once again this season. I mean, batting 270 again, you would imagine, with the change in the shift, I mean, you would expect that average to go up, honestly. Hopefully for him too, maybe he can, with that average getting up, him getting more on base looks here. He has some more confidence, some more power, hits that 30 home run mark this season. I think he can do, 30 home runs, over 100 RBIs this season for sure. That's kind of what I would project him to be. And of course, his defense is going to be absolutely locked down. But in terms of the rest of the offense, Escobar, you mentioned hot, sometimes cold, other times. Pete Alonso is someone who I think kind of struggled a little bit, in terms of the power. I understand he had 40 home runs last season, but Again, you're looking at this guy who, broke Judge's home run record as a rookie. You'd expect him to have seasons, kind of almost to mirror Aaron Judge, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Aaron Judge is getting, over 20 home runs more than him last season. You understand, Judge has kind of been a little bit around a bit more. But still, you want to see, he's the home run guy. I think the one thing that could critique him is like, there were a lot of times where it's like, like we're down by 1 or we're down by 2. He's got men on, there's 2 outs, and he ends up striking out or something like that. Like, I'm looking for more home runs in bigger spots. That being said, I think that's kind of nitpicky. I mean, you look at his numbers, average 271, 40 and 131 here. I believe that says 5 stolen bases as well last regular
season.
Sneaky
quick.
So watch out for that. So again, obviously a lot of offense from there. Jeff McNeil, business as usual batting title. I mean, he's just a phenomenal hitter. He's someone who you can really rely on getting base hits when you need it. Chokes up on the bat. Someone who has a really good just plate awareness, someone who doesn't really strike out a lot. And then on top of that, like I said, he gets on base. He's a great hitter, solid second baseman, great attitude as well. And then, Ronnie Mauricio, someone who I talked about, he's a shortstop, but he's played some third base, I believe, in the minors as well. So was Mark Vientos, by the way. But Ronnie Mauricio, he had quite a few home runs here in spring training. So, I mean,
does he make the team?
I think he does.
Does Brady make the team? I mean, I'm guessing you're assuming Alvarez makes the team.
Yeah.
Vientos.
Man, I don't know. Honestly, like, if I were the Mets, I understand Beatty's like the actual third baseman.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to choose one, I'd probably have Mauricio.
Yeah. Yeah, just because of what he could bring offensively.
Yeah. And even so, he's had some looks at third base before. I wonder what Vientos's numbers are in spring training so far this year. 23 at bats, 2 home runs. So still really solid, dude. And as you can see,
Norwalk, Connecticut. There we go.
Wow, I had no idea from Norwalk.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. There we go, dude. Dan Orlovsky has got some competition in terms of who's representing Connecticut here. And then, you mentioned the outfield. That's something I'm kind of a little worried about here. As you can see, my mouse is circling these 4 guys. Tommy Pham, old, right? Brendan Nimmo, you're not really worried about. Marcana, I mean, how good is he? I mean, again, he's someone who's had big hits and big moments last season, but again, consistently, I mean, 266, I guess, okay, average, I guess. 13 home runs, 61 RBIs. I suppose he's doing what you want him to do. And he was all healthy, knock on wood, last season. But still, I mean, you would imagine starting Marte, who is, brought a lot of offense to your team. But when you needed him the most, which is the end of the season and the wild card, I mean, he was nowhere to be found. Injury, and then, taking some time coming back from his injury kind of really stunted the offense of the Mets here. So, I mean, if I'm the Mets, I'm like, I can't rely on Marte. It's nice. Let's have him crank home runs. You look jacked. But I mean, again, if you can't play the full season, what really good are you? I guess the fact, given that I do like that Tommy Pham, it would be backing him up. But again, there's just not a lot of depth. And it's like really at any point, like Marte could get injured, even Kana too. He's 34 years old. And then, Nimmo, we've had, I think he had a wrist injury for a short time last season too. So it's, again, like, where is your depth in the outfield? I mean, we've seen them put Beatty out in the outfield last season, I think.
McNeil can play outfield, right?
McNeil can play the outfield. So you can probably do some rotating there. But and then Guillorme is nice to have because he's a utility guy. You can put him at third, put him at second, put him at short.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of nice to have that. But again, you're a little worried about that depth in the outfield for sure, dude.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I have to say, obviously he's 35 now, and of course has had some injuries last year. But I feel like Marte has had one of the better post-steroid runs. I don't know if you remember he got pinched, like it was like what, 2018, 2017?
Yeah. I mean, you kept talking about it last season too, so
I don't even actually remember talking about it that much.
No,
but
come
I guess
on,
when I
dude.
get going, I don't realize. when to stop. But if he's healthy, obviously he's good. I just think they did kind of sign him with those stolen bases in mind, and I think he had 47 the year before.
Yeah.
So they'd like to see him kind of improve upon that 18 number. We'll see. But yeah, so I mean, of course, the expectations are high once again for the Mets.
Oh,
And
yeah.
speaking of high expectations, next team we're going to talk about the Phillies here. Of course, the run to the World Series. Rob Thompson is a long-term manager. So really looking to build upon that last year. So close with that lead in the World Series, but couldn't get the job done. So you look at the rotation: Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Tawan Walker, Ranger Suarez, Bailey Falter. So I think pretty solid. I mean, obviously we've had our discussions about Walker, though, his inconsistencies, but Nola and Wheeler at the top, I think that's good. Ranger Suarez, there's a lot of belief in his potential, and Bailey Falter, showed some glimpses of, how good he could be last year as well. So they look to hone in on the consistency. But I do think the bullpen is a complete mess. And I just don't understand why bring in Craig Kimbrell. He has failed his last 4 or 5 stops. I just don't see, used to be one of the better relievers in the game. And I know the numbers were okay last year, but by the time he got to the postseason, I mean, they might not even have had him on the roster.
I don't think so.
I know they removed him from the closers role later in the year. But I think they're going to have to do some work there, because otherwise they have Matt Strahm, Connor Brogdon, Nick Nelson, Yunior Marte, Andrew Bellotti. So not exactly the who's of relievers. I know Gregory Soto and Jose Alvarado were okay at times, but I think bullpen might be a weakness. So we'll see if they, make any moves to solidify it. JT Realmuto remains one of the better catchers in the game, so they're solid there. Rhys Hoskins has kind of been back and forth the last couple of years. You expect some power production there. I really like Bryson Stout. I know the numbers, weren't great last year, but he's still a younger guy, and I think he can develop. Bohm, the same type of thing, just in terms of developing, kind of having that breakout season. That's what they're looking for out of him. The marquee free agent signing for them, of course, Trey Turner, that big contract, coming over from the Dodgers. They expect him to be the table setter at the top of the lineup. So of course, that was a great move, and they're hoping that really energizes the offense. You look at Kyle Schwarber, he's going to be your left fielder. He actually has 78 home runs the last 2 years, so has really been on a tear in terms of power. And a guy that towards the end, with the Cubs, I think they non-tendered him. It seemed like he was going to have kind of a quick end to his career, but has really rejuvenated himself. And it started with that run he was on with the Nationals, a couple of years ago before he got traded to the Red Sox and ultimately signed with the Phillies. So they're expecting, he had 46 last year. They're expecting another big power season from him. And then you got Marsh and Castellanos kind of rounding out the outfield. Those are two guys, I think didn't have great years last year. Castellanos in the past has been strong, but it'll just be interesting to see, if he's able to rebound. Marsh is only 25 years old, came over from the Angels. And Castellanos, I was just seeing, I know I think he came over last season, but 263, 13 and 62, but he's a guy at times has had a lot better in terms of the power production. Hit 34 home runs in 2021, so not that long ago. So they look for a little more production out of him. But as you look at this Phillies team, Tony, offensively, do you feel like they're pretty solid, or do you think a little is left to be desired? Kind of a question mark.
I don't know. I think they'll be fine. I mean, I know Harper's going to be out for the start of the season. I forget what it's for. Not the hand. Is his hand?
Shoulder?
I forget, but he had surgery, I think, after the offseason, or during the offseason, I should say. Totally blanking on what it was, but they're going to be without him opening day, which obviously, not obvious necessarily, but last season they were also without him for his hand.
Still dry swinging.
The hell? What? Yeah, really?
But then I'm seeing something else that he's like, this was 21 hours ago, that he's going to begin revving it up at spring training. And it was reconstructive surgery on his right elbow. That's why he had the DH down the stretch last year. Okay. So actually he's going to be out till the All-Star break.
Holy shit.
As a designated hitter, and then it returned to the field by a regular season. So big, hole to fill there. And I guess they have Derek Hall slotted in as the DH now.
That's a pretty big punch, I think, right there, actually, dude.
Yeah, it definitely is. Of course, it helps, bringing over Turner, and then Schwarber, is your big power guy.
Right. Do you think, though, that, I don't know, I mean, even last year I was skeptical of Schwarber's year. I understand he proved me wrong again, but for a third year, do you think he's going to really showcase, like, that many home runs again? Honestly.
I honestly think he could even improve just in terms of average. I think he hit 218.
Yeah, I think he led the league in strikeouts.
Yeah, but he did actually steal second base for America last year in the World Series for Tacos.
Wow.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I remember that, dude.
Deceptively quick.
Yeah,
10 stolen bases, Tony.
Yeah,
so,
10 stolen bases.
But yeah, I do, and I think he could get up to 240.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Maybe he won't approach 50 home runs, but I could see him high 30s, low 40s. That'll be welcomed. But I think the big key for them is going to be what Hoskins, Stout, and Bohm do. Do they have breakout years? I mean, Hoskins did hit 30 home runs, hit 246 last year.
I think Bohm had a solid year. No, only 13 home runs.
Yeah,
280 though.
Yeah, so 280. But you want some more power production. Yeah. He's only 26 years old. But I mean, I think it's just the impact that you'll have with Trey Turner leading off. I mean, 298, 21 home runs, 100 RBIs.
So nasty.
And in terms of, I was just wanting to see, 29 years old, I know would have been great setting the table for the Mets, Tony. We understand. But in terms of stolen bases, 27 last year. Really just a great player. So I think the Phillies will be strong. And they hope to get Harper back as soon as possible. And then moving along here, the Marlins, kind of the same story with them. I think they have some decent pitching. Alcantara, one of the best in the league. It's almost amazing they still on the team. Usually this is a guy, that they would trade. But you have him, Jesus Luzardo, Trevor Rogers, Cueto comes over from Chicago, and Braxton Garrett rounding out the rotation. Bullpen, not many names, I mean, Tanner Scott, AJ Pook, Matt Barnes, and then they have Floro listed as the closer. They did bring over Araz from Minnesota, so he's going to be one of their better offensive players. Gene Segura, they have penciled in at third base. Jazz Chisholm, a guy that we talked about before the show. Some high expectations there. Oswald Garcia, Jorge Soler. They have Garrett Cooper at first base. But Jesus Sanchez in left as well. But it's hard to look at this team and think that they're gonna score enough runs. I guess they're just hoping some of these young guys kind of pop on the scene, and that Araz can build on his strong performance last year. I think he was the AL batting champ, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
And I know as far as Chisholm is concerned, he has some high expectations. He's only 25 years old, 14-45. Didn't play a full season last year, only 60 games. So maybe they're thinking, with a full season, he could approach 30
I guess
home runs and steal some bases. Time will tell on that. But like I said, I do think that runs will be tough to come by. We'll really have to see. And then the Nationals rounding out the division. I mean, really, really just an embarrassing roster. Just looking at this, I mean, Patrick Corbin, it's amazing,
honestly, dude, that
he continues to pitch in Major League Baseball. And I know, he signed that 6-year contract, but he was 6-19 last year with a 6.31. I mean, historically bad. And it's just been one bad contract after another for Washington. Strasburg is injured once again, had a setback, I believe, as soon as spring training started.
What is the deal, dude? Like,
and he was it 2 years ago? I think he had the thoracic outlet surgery.
Yeah,
I mean, we know, dealing specifically, with Matt Harvey on that. I mean, you don't really come back from that. It's crazy that he's 34. Kind of got to later start to his career. But Mackenzie Gore, who was once a top prospect, hasn't delivered just yet. Josiah Gray, Cade Cavelli, bullpen, a bunch of no names. I mean, Sean Doolittle, I guess we've heard of. Kyle Finnegan is slotted in as the closer. Keibert Ruiz, a top catching prospect, came over in the Trey Turner deal. He hasn't delivered either. They actually have Dom Smith.
I was going to say,
penciled in as their starting first baseman, obviously.
First
baseman,
baseman, dude.
Mets.
Dude, he's going to be probably their best player.
You know who actually I think might be their best player? I don't know if
Trevor Williams?
No.
Oh.
He's actually on the team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Joey Meneses. I think he was a rookie. I think he played in the Mexican League, but last year, if you look at it, so he's 30 years old, 13-34, hit 324.
Oh, wow.
So showed some power, some contact, and that was done in 56 games. So, didn't have much minor league production. So they're hoping that this is something sustainable, but obviously,
that'd be cool.
Time will tell there. Who's been a real bust is Carter Kieboom. He was supposed to step right in for Anthony Rendon. He's still only 25 years old. Highly touted prospect coming up, but I mean, you look at it, he's played 106 games in his career and hit 197 with 8 home runs.
Wow.
If he's healthy, maybe they're hoping he can contribute in some way.
Right.
But this roster, and I mentioned this to you, prior to the show, I mean, really rivals the Cincinnati Reds as possibly the worst roster in Major League Baseball.
I think it's up there, dude.
Much to be excited about.
No.
But that is your National League East. It did take a while to get there, but when you're talking Mets and stuff, there's just a little more attention, of course.
Well,
Phillies.
It happens when you're in such a competitive division where you can't just write off, 3 teams and just focus on 2.
Yeah, you just write off 2 teams. But anyway, Tony, we'll start with you here.
I really wouldn't write off the Marlins, though. Just, whatever.
Well, I guess you're going to tell us, but yeah, top to bottom, what do you have for the National League East?
Oh, gosh. All right. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to say the Mets finally win it this year.
And what is it? They've made is it 3 years or 3 times in their franchise history they've made the playoffs back-to-back years?
Yeah, 3 times.
Isn't that amazing?
It really is kind of ridiculous. But I think this is going to be one of their times here. Obviously, they won well over 100 games. We've seen this before, way back in the day, middle 2000s, early 2000s, where they win 100 games. They flub it towards the end, though, end up losing the division, knocked out in the wild card, go far in the postseason. Your favorite Willie Randolph guy, it's happened to him too, where you're looking so good, they just flub it, in the last month or two, but it's not going to happen this year. Okay. The Mets are going to be, they're going to win, I'm going to say 105 games.
Wow.
Yeah. They're going to win the division here. Verlander, Scherzer, healthy all year long. Bullpen's going to look great. Tyler McGill is going to really come into his own this season. Diaz is going to be business as usual, just like last season. We mentioned, Alonso coming up big in bigger spots. Give me 50 home runs for him this season. We also mentioned Lindor, keeping up those RBIs, increasing that batting average, showing some more power, hitting that 30 home run mark, I think. And I think, with these guys too, even, with Alvarez, hopefully getting some good looks at catching position here. Someone you can really build around as well, behind the plate. And again, like Lindor, Nimmo, even McNeil, look for these guys to start stealing some more bags too. I think they're gonna get really creative, especially with Buck behind them, in terms of what they can do with runners in scoring position, getting runners in scoring position, stuff like that. So I think they're gonna be first in the division. Second place, it's gonna be tough. I mean, how do you not pick the Braves, honestly, to squeak in there at second? And I'll get to why, obviously it's pretty obvious now who's gonna be third, but, with the Braves, I think they have, like I said before, one of the most solid, consistent starting rotations. They have a huge core, of not only youthful, but also veteran players as well. I mean, we mentioned Harris with, coming off of the Rookie of the Year season. That guy, talk about dreams come true. I mean, he grew up, dreaming of playing for the Atlanta Braves. And here he is, splash out onto the scene, winning Rookie of the Year. I mean, you really just, you can't get any better than that, really, dude. So And Ozzy Albies hopefully staying healthy is gonna be huge for them. Acuna having a solid, consistent year of staying healthy and good production. Again, another team that I think can get real creative with their speed. And I think they can get, they can start stealing bags relatively quickly. Third place, I'll give the Braves, I'll give them 99 wins. And the Phillies, another team, Trey Turner, is going to be shining this year, I think, for the Phillies. Zach Wheeler's going to be good. Aaron Nola, I think we've seen some up and down, so I think that's kind of a weakness there for them. And of course, without Harper, for most of the year, I think isn't, like you said, big shoes to fill. You understand that they were missing him for a while last season as well, but I don't know. I just think for them, and they did pick up really well when he came back with the playoffs and everything, but I just think another season of almost a whole year of really not having him 100%. I think it's just a tall ask for a team like the Phillies, to be honest. But like I said, Trey Turner is definitely going to fill in some shoes. Kyle Schwarber, I question a little bit here, just because, again, highest strikeout rate in the league. That's never really good when you strike out that much. He's got to figure out how to get that down, I think, a little bit, but then, so they clock in, I guess, at third place. I'll give him probably maybe around 90 wins there with that. Zach Wheeler will make a push, I think, for the Cy Young award. Just like he has been the past couple seasons. I think last year or 2 years ago, he got injured for a little bit, which really stunted, his odds of getting the Cy Young. Last year, he was just a little inconsistent, got popped a few times. But I think, this, Zach Wheeler, I think this year will make a heavy push for it. And, it's just funny because you think of Zach Wheeler as being a former Met. Imagine if the Mets still had Zach Wheeler in the rotation right now. It'd be absolutely just stellar, Brian.
Yeah, if Steve Cohen had just got on board a little earlier,
I
he
know,
would have.
dude. And he walked. Like, it wasn't even like trade, nothing. Fucking walked, dude.
Sayonara.
Anyway, so then I guess third place, right? Fourth place would be Miami. Again, Zenny Alcantara, just like Brian said, I can't believe he's still on the team. He won the Cy Young Award last season. You expect him to have a great year. Jazz Chisholm, if he stays healthy, that's great. But you don't expect him to make a huge splash. Again, you got it last season. A team like Miami is a team that actually hurt the Mets later in the season when we were absolutely blowing series, when we all really needed to win was like 3 games to take the division. Anywho, they have a good amount of talent on the team, good youth as well, like Brian alluded to. So I think they could be dangerous, but I don't know, man. 75, 72 wins maybe for them. And then give me the Washington Nationals in last place with 47 wins.
47 wins is like historically bad.
Yeah, like literally breaking records because, dude, there's no way.
What about Manisi, though?
Come on.
All-Star?
Maybe.
Representative, right? Does every team need one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every team needs one. Yeah. But dude, come on. Patrick Corbin? Who's the other guy that used to get popped all the time too? Starting pitcher.
Not Josiah Gray, right?
Patrick Corbin, no. Oh, Espino.
Okay.
Probably.
Well, go to Mackenzie Gore. I'm just curious if he had any production.
Mackenzie Gore, bang, right here. 24 years old. Last season, went 4-4, 4.50 ERA. Over 13 starts, 70 innings pitched, 72 strikeouts, a whip of 1.47, dude.
And what is he, 25?
24.
24. Okay.
So
a third overall pick.
Yeah, right? Jeez, dude, by the Padres? What were they thinking?
So, there's still an opportunity potentially. Did you catch any of him pitching last year, like against the Mets?
Honestly, no, not really.
Okay.
He may have not come around for the Mets that much, but I would imagine maybe at some point he did.
Because he came over in the Soto deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. So that's definitely interesting. So yeah, I definitely have a little different in terms of order of finish here, and I'll go through it. So I'm going to have the Braves repeating.
Wow.
I think obviously it's going to be a tough division. We talked about all the talent, throughout the top 3 teams in the division. I just think their offense is what sets them apart from the Mets. And maybe, at the top of the rotation, maybe the Mets have the advantage. But I think offensively far better, with all they bring to the table. So I have them at 102 wins. I'll put the Mets at 94 wins in second. Maybe they can go up from there. I think there's a bunch of variables. I think the biggest is, do they add a power bat, or do, Mauricio and Alvarez, have those really big bursts on the scenes years as, rookies? That remains to be seen. So we put them in second, but they do get, back-to-back playoff appearances for the first time, or actually what would it be? It would be the first time since 2016, because they made the wild card after making the World Series in 2015.
Right.
And it would be the fourth time in franchise history. The Phillies, like you mentioned, I think the Harper injury really kind of sets them back. I mean, Turner's a great ad, but also you think about that. So there's a little hole there in the middle of the lineup, and then the rotation middle to end. And, we talked about the inconsistencies of Tawan Walker for the last 2 years in depth. And I think that's a wild card. So I think pitching, bullpen will set them back. I don't know if they're really in position to make another run to the World Series. I'm going to have them finishing with 84 wins and just out of the playoff picture. So that would be pretty disappointing for them, but that's how I see it right now. And like you had Marlins and Nationals finishing out the division. Marlins have a couple of things to get excited about,
Chisholm,
Chisholm, Alcantara. So that just gives them the automatic edge over the Nationals.
Yeah. Have nothing to be excited about.
I'll give them 55 wins, but either way, 47-55, Tony. I mean, it's just a complete embarrassment.
What's the record for lowest wins? It's got to be
it's in the 40s.
Is it?
Yeah, just look it up. Is it the Tigers? No.
Oh, wait.
Oh, what?
We did this last year.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Tigers.
No, but in 162 games. I think it is the Tigers, though.
Tigers,
yeah,
43
so
Tigers.
Just missing out on setting the record if they go with your 47. But of course, we will see. But it is amazing, Tony, that we powered right through.
I know.
These divisional previews. So much fun. And of course, on the eve of opening day, we will do, World Series MVP Cy Young predictions.
Hell yeah.
And of course, bring any news we have regarding spring training up until then, but baseball around the corner, and me and Tony are pumped, it, as well as Matthew, as well as Michael. So really interesting stuff here. But let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Patrick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan Stahl. Oh my goodness!
That's the top right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliance from Igor Shesterkin.
It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
The torrid pace continues for Connor McDavid.
Oh, yeah.
Another 2 goals last night in the Oilers' 3-2 win in Buffalo.
I know. Crazy, dude.
That was part of the 3-0 night I had with the picks. Tony went 2-1, so a strong night overall, for us. But the Oilers have heated up here, now 35-22, and Kane's still dealing with some injuries. I think what's obviously, other than, not Draisaitl, but McDavid just on this tear, what's really been a positive for them is the emergence of Stuart Skinner. You just look at how well he's performed between the pipes this year, and really outplaying Jack Campbell, who they had, thought would be, their unquestioned starter, but just has not been the case. But Connor McDavid, setting a career high 54 goals, Tony. So much time left. What's the record for goals in the season? 70 something.
I think it is
Gretzky.
Yeah.
Let's see it. What's your guess? I'm going to say 73.
77. Say 77. Most goals in 92.
Okay, so McDavid won't be breaking that one, dude. But
You never know.
Wow, he has the top 2. That's just amazing. I mean, just I don't know, last 10 years. What's the most goals you recall someone having?
Oh, geez. That's a good question.
I mean, just in the 50s?
Yeah.
Not really. 60 doesn't really.
No, definitely not.
But obviously McDavid will definitely, I would imagine, be in the 60, maybe even 70 club this season.
Yeah, possibly. Was he at 52?
54.
54? Yeah, dude.
So
Kind of ridiculous. He leads the league in goals, assists, and
124 points, already a career high.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing. And then, I mentioned Skinner as well, 37 to 39 last night. That's impressive. What do you think about the Oilers here moving forward? I mean, do you think they're in a pretty good spot?
Yeah. No, yeah, I do. I mean, you get
slight yawn when I said it, or what
was it? No, that was just
or 222.
220. You were like, oh, what do you think of the Oilers here? I don't know, dude. I mean, I feel like they definitely proven themselves now at this point. They have a very solid record, 35, 22, and 8 here. Beating the Sabres have good defense. They have an okay goaltender in Anderson. I don't know if Anderson started last night for him. I'm pretty sure he did. But I think the Oilers to win this game 3-2. Again, you would expect with the offense they could have, they would score more goals here than just one in each period. But to also
Anderson did start 34-37.
Yeah, so to hold the Sabres to only 2 goals here, I think is huge with the talent that they have. And again, Sabres have solid defense too. The Sabres are a very, good all-around team right now. They're good. They're not great. They're good. And for the Oilers to come in here, hold their good players at bay here. I mean, just looking at the box score just to see, it's to look obviously how many shots. Kyle Caposo, no shots. Tage Thompson only 2 shots on goal. So holding those guys, limiting their amount of looks there at the net is pretty good. You had other guys, Cousins had 6 shots, ended up with a goal too. But again, you're shutting down Tage Thompson. That's their guy, so that's pretty good. Looks like a lot of defensemen didn't really get a lot of looks to it at the point. So, you're defending the point pretty well too. Just by the Oilers. I still am skeptical in terms of them being an all-around good team. Again, they show up against a playoff team. Yeah, they could ride their offense, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking like, yeah, if they, let's say they make it to the Cup final and it's like against the Hurricanes or something, like they're gonna get absolutely stomped out by the Hurricanes. They're gonna get stomped out by the Bruins. I can't see in a 7-game series, them having much competitiveness, especially against the East here.
I do think there is an opportunity in the West, though. I think there's a lot of, just up and down. Just looking up the teams ahead of them right now. So Vegas in first. Yeah. We've saw how vulnerable they can be. Kings, same thing. Dallas, the Kraken as well. The Wild. And it's amazing, too, how far Winnipeg, they were leading the division. They're leading the conference for most of the year. They're down below Edmonton, so that would be 7th place. Colorado in 8th, and Nashville and Calgary out of the playoff picture at the moment. But right now, as a 6th seed, Edmonton would face Dallas. I like them in that matchup, but and I do think just in general, Edmonton I think has a good shot to win the West. And the one thing I would say is, of course, every team before every season sets out to win the Stanley Cup. But I think, making the conference final last year, if they did make the Stanley Cup finals this year, I think it would be, decent improvement for a team before last year had really struggled. So that's the situation to monitor. I was looking up the contract details for McDavid. 3 seasons remaining after this year, set to hit free agency at 30. So kind of interesting how that is timed, Tony. So this is a big 3 years. And Rangers aside, because I know you're sick of me talking about that, but you have to admit though, right? This 3-year stretch will determine, I would say, with pretty convincingly, whether McDavid remains with the Oilers for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, again, he's someone who wants to be in the Oilers, and I think the Oilers are gonna obviously, not be dumb and make him as happy as possible. It really is kind of an anomaly that they're not, the best team in the West, let alone the league here, just because they have
4 points behind number 1, though.
Right. I understand that, but, I understand they made the Western Conference final last season. But you have the best player in the league, like not really so much of an argument. And then you have arguably like the second best player in the league as well behind him.
I think Matthews is better than Draisaitl.
I don't know, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people get kind of ridiculous with Austin Matthews. For a while they were saying like him and McDavid like 1A, 1B
Right.
sort of thing. And it's just like, no, dude. Like, I mean, Draisaitl again. I mean, what does he have? Like probably like 80 points in the season. Leon Draisaitl. See hockey reference. Let's see. 96 points, 41 goals, 55 assists. Look at Austin Matthews.
Missed some time with injury, right? A couple weeks, didn't he miss?
Maybe 61 points
goals,
here, 56
games
played.
Draisaitl's played
63
what?
games.
So 7 games. I mean, that would make up the 13 goal difference, huh?
Yeah, dude, that would make up the 32 point difference between the two of them. So
more
I mean,
mouths to feed, though. All about Michael Bunting. Dude.
Yes, no, of course, dude. But I mean, with a man
Tavares.
like Connor McDavid, kind of eating up, almost 60 goals already for you. But look at, I mean, Draisaitl -2 on the ice on the season here.
Not too impressive.
So again, it seems like Austin Matthews +22 on the ice. I think maybe that's an issue you can kind of look at right there. I mean, maybe the forwards for Edmonton don't know how to back check, don't know how to come down the ice, looking to help out on defense. Because I mean, I guess you can't really blame it all on the defense there for Edmonton, but it should be pretty interesting. I wonder what McDavid's honestly plus minus is on the ice. Here we go. 10, dude.
But still plus. Would you say you're a bigger Orlovsky fan or Oilers?
I would say I'm a bigger Oilers fan, I guess. I mean, I do respect hockey. I still respect the team. You got to love, their talent pool over there in Edmonton. But, dude, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think it's a big toss-up. I mean, honestly, I think Edmonton against Dallas, I don't know, man. I mean,
you would take Dallas?
I think I would.
Close series or not?
Yes, probably 7. But I think the difference there probably falls in Jake Oettinger, Dallas's goaltender.
What about Robertson as well?
Jason Robertson?
Yeah, Robertson.
Yeah. Obviously, breakout star for them. Someone else on the team has been doing really well, but Tyler Seguin too. And who do they pick up at the trade deadline? Max Domi? Max Domi. Yeah. That's a huge get for them too. So, give me, I think Dallas and 7 for that one.
And it's funny too. We're gonna big slate tonight. I think we'll have 4 apiece. So we'll
Let's
get
go,
to that.
baby.
Just was gonna mention Sharks were on a little bit of a losing streak, 3-2 in overtime. I believe Logan Couture had the game winner.
Overtime winner.
So Jets. I mean, I knew it from the start. There was no way they were the best team in the West. And I think their play of recent, has showed that. But yeah, Couture with his 22nd and believe it or not, assisted by Erik Karlsson, his 63rd assist of the season.
Very solid.
So always making an impact there. But like I mentioned, good night for us, 5-1 combined. But let's make some picks for tonight. We got till opening day with this pick segment. You do have the 1 game advantage. But where are you starting here on Tuesday, March 7th?
On Tuesday, March 7th. Well, I can't believe it's March 7th.
222.
You really like that, dude, huh?
222.
Almost sound a little Adam Sandler-esque, Brian.
Oh, boy. 22. a little bit.
All right, dude. I think for my first game, wow, what a docket we have. I know. I kind of want to take the Devils. Devils at home against the Maple Leafs. They're actually favorited. Devils. I mean, 41-15-6. Give me the Devils here tonight. I just kind of convinced myself. Again, let's double check here for the daily face-off. Tech Magic, likely it says, against Ilya Samsonov. And then again, you're looking at a Timo Meier type of night here. They got him up there. I don't even know. I actually haven't even followed if he's played yet.
Yeah, he did. He scored a goal.
Right? Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Weekend, yeah.
All right. Good to hear it. Again, I mean, you look at this lineup now for the Devils. So dangerous. In the first line, Tomas Tatar, Nico Hischier, and Dawson Mercer action out the right wing. They moved them over. which is kind of a shame because I thought Mercer was a great center. But nonetheless, I mean, hey, man, role player. He's youthful. He's down for it, whatever. Second line, Timo Meier, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt. Third line, Andrej Palat, Eric Holla, and Jesper Boquist. And then fourth line is Miles Wood, Michael McLeod, and Nathan Bastian. I mean, that's just a ridiculous combination. That third line, too, of Andrej Palat. He's a big body, physical veteran, won the cup with the Lightning. And then the fourth line, too, with Michael McLeod. I mean, he's a great center, explosive speed. And that's just their third and fourth line, buddy. They probably could use some help on defense, I think. Damon Severson, solid. About Doogie Hamilton, Ryan Graves, solid, I suppose. But nonetheless, dude, I mean, it's a phenomenal lineup by the Devils. I think that, tonight is a good look in terms of what they could do in the playoffs, against a team like Toronto, who's been kind of, I suppose, up and down this season a little bit, but more ups than downs. They just lost to Vancouver 4-1. Before that, beat Calgary 2-1, and then lost to Edmonton 5-2. So they lost 2 out of their last 5 games. Jersey winning 4 out of the last 5 games. They've been absolutely on fire. Last time this year, these two teams face each other. They've obviously faced themselves. They faced each other 2 other times. Series is split right now. First game, Devils win 3-2. Second game, Maple Leafs win 2-1. So again, I think an excellent kind of look ahead spot in terms of what to expect if these two teams should meet in the playoffs. Tight, close games here, but ultimately, just like it would happen in the playoff series, I think the Jersey Devils will pull away with it here tonight. They've been on a roll, and I think they want to really prove themselves. They have the speed. I know Toronto came up with them. But again, I mean, I feel like, Samsonov, although he's a great goaltender, and I know Vitek Vanacek has been kind of maybe struggling a little bit. You see sometimes where his numbers kind of implode for some games. But I just think tonight he's going to be absolutely lights out. And the Devils are like, hey, we're a young team, but come playoff time, we're not to be reckoned with. Give me the Devils here. I'm going to say a little bit of a pull-away spot in the third period. Maybe they win 4-1.
Bigger Oilers or Maple Leafs fan?
Oh, that's a good question. I would have to probably say Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I swear that the Orlovsky Oilers comparison is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
It's 3 things, actually. And then McDavid to the Rangers is part of that group.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
It really will be a ridiculous day. You know how, they have, these, acquisitions, that really stand out for your teams, and you remember where you were when they were made.
Yeah,
I feel like that's one of those things.
It would be pretty crazy, but I mean, look how fucking much trouble it's caused the Rangers to get Patty Kane. Imagine.
Well, but he might be a free agent. I mean, I don't know if the Oilers, they would have to know in advance that McDavid wanted to leave, but I think he's just one of those guys you would want to do everything you can to keep him, that they probably wouldn't trade him even if they were a little nervous about their ability to resign him.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that will be something to monitor in the years to come, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Avalanche. I know they've lost 3 in a row, and we were talking about that Kraken game from Sunday, which was a disaster, but before the 3-game losing streak, I mean, there really were a lot of signs, that things were turning around. And I just think getting the Sharks here on the back-to-back at home, this is a get-right spot. So as long as they can keep Erik Karlsson at bay, could we just do a quick check? I know Francois has been injured, so I just want to make sure we got Gorgie in that. I think he started back-to-back games because he got pulled in one of them. I'm just curious what they have here.
Where are we? Minnesota, Arizona, Colorado.
Gorgiev, okay, versus Kakinen. So yeah, give me Avalanche here. I think they'll really win this one soundly. Let's say 4-1 Colorado over San Jose.
Love it, dude. I think that it is like you said, a get right spot there for Colorado. All right, my next pick, I'm gonna go with the Penguins at home. Against the Blue Jackets, led by Elvis Merzlikins, who's likely to be in between the pipes for Columbus. Tristan Jarry, unconfirmed right now for the Penguins. But I just think, Columbus, for a hot second, we were thinking they got Jonathan Quick, but now not so much, as Quick was, traded to Vegas. But I just think, it's pretty obvious here. Penguins at home as well. I mean, there's just no way in hell the Blue Jackets are going to beat the Penguins. These two teams have faced each other twice already. They will face each other 2 more times, but they've been outscored by the Penguins in those 2 games, 10-4. So give the Penguins here. I'm going to say, jeez, dude, 5-2, maybe 5-2. Let's say 5-2. Crosby, Malkin, Letang with a couple slappers from the blue line. He's got 2 goals and assists tonight.
All right, so I'm gonna go with another team on a losing streak. Lightning have actually lost 5 straight games.
Wow.
Are 2-5-3 in their last 10. They're facing a Flyers team that's only won 1 of its previous 5 games. And this season series is tied 1 apiece. So this would be for the season series, last matchup of the year. Flyers did beat the Lightning 3-2 back on 10-18, and then Lightning rebounded in Philly on New Year's Day, or no, December 1st. But anyway, I just think, I mean, this is the spot. This is where you turn it around. Can we do a quick Vasilevsky check? I think I saw it earlier, but I just wanted to make sure. Yep. Carter Hart, one of your guys. But anyway, this is just guys? You like Carter Hart.
I do like Carter Hart.
But anyway, I think this is another decisive one. We're gonna go lock of the night, Tony. 5-2, Lightning over the Flyers, and let's say Braden Point with the hat trick.
I like that. Braden Point, very good player. All right, dude.
You think if a comedian was here, they would have said that's a good point, because they do try stuff like that. And it's like, come on, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't think you really got amused by that comment.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh wow, getting to the point.
Oh,
here,
comedian.
Oh wow. All right, dude. My next game. Ooh, the Islanders, who have been on fire.
That's gonna be a good game, I think. Right?
That's gonna be a really good game. ESPN Plus Hulu game.
Sabres on the back-to-back.
Sabres
MSG Plus.
I know, dude. I mean, really, Islanders have really just like kind of carved a good little wild card situation for themselves. But Buffalo also looking to be in the wild card. Last time these two teams faced, Sabres won 3-2 in overtime. Cousins had a goal that game. Alex Tuck had a goal as well. I'm just looking at the box score from that last game here. Barzal had nothing to show for it. Interesting, dude. With the way the Islanders have been playing, I would say just give me the Islanders tonight, honestly, in that tight game here. Ilya Sorokin unconfirmed, Eric Comrie unconfirmed right now for the Sabres. But you imagine those two who are slated. Eric Comrie, interesting choice there. But as Buffalo is on the back-to-back, that's where I think this favorite kind of comes in here for the Islanders. Like I said, you know, they've been doing a great job. I think Barzal is still injured. Matthew Barzal is day-to-day. Cal Clutterbuck, IR. Jean-Gabriel Pajot on the IR as well. I mean, what?
I was trying to think what that guy's name is.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
And he's on Toronto?
I think it's Winnipeg.
Okay. Pierre-Luc Dubois. All-time classic.
It really is, dude.
Eric Carlson.
Dubois, dude. He's on, Winnipeg.
Okay.
Yeah. Those stupid French Canadians from Quebec, dude. Anyway, I forget what I was trying to say, but Islanders here, I'm going to say they win it 3-1, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Islanders definitely ascending.
The Battle of New York.
I keep going to teams that are struggling and teams that have killed me with these picks, but I'm going to just keep doing it. The Coyotes are hosting the Blues. Both teams have lost 4 out of 5. Something's got to give. How about body clock here? Connor Ingram actually has a better save percentage than Vejmelka, only by 0.04, but I just find that kind of ironic. Vejmelka, 3.39 goals against. Nobody's dealing with in terms of defense. Could we get a check there? I think I saw Vejmelka earlier. I just want to make sure.
I think I saw it as well here. Let's go up, let's say. No,
9 o'clock game.
9 o'clock game.
Vejmelka versus Bennington.
Both confirmed right now.
This could be a sneaky high scoring game. 6.5 because it's not that sneaky to Vegas. But anyway, I'm going to say Arizona in overtime. Clayton Keller, the game winner. Let's say 5-4 Coyotes as they add their 22nd victory of the season. You, sir, are due for your 4th and final.
That is pretty crazy, dude. 4th and final. Wow. All right, let's focus here. And on this docket, dude. Canadiens
Canadiens. Oh,
playing the
wow,
Hurricanes.
I can't believe. I kind of just didn't look at that game.
Oh, you missed that one, huh?
Yeah, so now you could just say Hurricanes. I'm gonna take the Canadiens, dude. I know it's crazy. That's what you're gonna say.
No, I don't think so, dude. I don't know if I'm that crazy, but Canadiens, I mean, losing 4 of the last 5 games.
Through 35, sketchy spot.
I know Carolina minus 335, but I mean, dude, like, come on, Carolina. I don't care if you're in net as the goaltender.
Wow.
They're still gonna win this game, dude. Yeah, all right, I'll take it. Carolina. I think this could get ugly. I'm gonna say 7-3, honestly, in favor of Carolina. That is. I guess Sebastian Aho, I mean, he's someone who's leading the team in goals, I believe, 27. Give me a hat trick by him to get up to 30. Brent Burns on the assist on all 3 of those goals. So he has no goals, 3 assists tonight. And they win. And that's my 4th pick.
Speaking of winning, give me the Kraken at home against the Ducks. This is actually a nationally televised ESPN Plus game.
Let's go.
10 o'clock. So minus 305 there for Seattle. Bless you. Ducks, obviously one of the worst teams in the league. If you look at the season series, it's been 2 5-4 games. Each team has grabbed one of those games. And if you look at recent, Anaheim has actually been a little bender. 4 out of 5 they've won. Seattle has also won 4 out of 5. So a lot of these games, teams on similar trajectories of recent. But I just think Seattle should be too much. I know these games have been close before. I think this one isn't as decisive, so you can even lay the 1.5 here if you want. Give me Seattle here. Let's say 4-2 over Anaheim at home. 4th and final. You know what I was going to ask you?
What do you got?
Just kind of curious, bias aside, and I'll give you my answer, but I'd like to start with you. Better team, present moment, Rangers or Hurricanes?
Present moment right now?
Mm-hmm.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, it's tough, but even though it seems like the Rangers have a deeper roster, it just seems like the Hurricanes been more consistent all year.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some time left to play into that.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see. I mean, it was an epic series between the two teams last season in the playoffs, and who knows? We may get that again. But this is an important stretch for the Rangers. We talked about it. And I mean, this is the time, like, let's go on a 4 out of 5, 6 out of 7, 7 out of 10. I mean, it's time. You can't slip up here because then you're really going to put yourself in an unfavorable position heading into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And I mean, even so, I mean, look at the series last season. I mean, some people were arguing that Carolina was a better team at that point as well.
Well, they were regular season wise, right?
They were.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people were making the argument that they were. But we beat them, Brian.
Right. I'm aware of it, Tony.
Okay. Just making sure, dude.
Difference between regular and postseason.
Yes, big difference here. And I just think, again, like, as of right now, obviously, I mean, the Rangers aren't coming off of some good wins here. They're coming off some bad losses. So, I mean, give him some time with Patrick Kane to develop a little bit, get used to the flow of things in New York. And then come to me, maybe in a week and a half after the next 10 games or something. And then we'll see, dude. Get back to me, Brian.
Is Shesterkin the biggest, like, needle mover? How the rest of the season goes, his play.
No.
Offense?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's offensive production. I mean,
or offensive cohesiveness.
Offensive cohesiveness, yes, if you want to say that.
With Kane.
Yeah. Again, so much potential on those first 2 lines. And then you have the kid line coming in for the 3rd line with some more potential there. I mean, again, like, imagine going into the playoffs with the kid line acting like they did in last postseason.
Right.
And then you have your first 2 lines just absolutely just on it, It'd be close to unstoppable as you could get, I think, in terms of offense, just because, like I said, the talent, the chemistry they could have, the combination of playmakers as well as goal scorers, is kind of outrageous. We've seen the terrific, assists that Panarin has on goals. We've seen the terrific goals that Zibanejad has. We've seen the great heads-up plays that Trocheck has, as well as the speed of Kreider and having that body for that. I mean, I really do think, like, if these guys just, again, like, if I'm Gallant, like, I'm setting up plays for these guys, and I'm like, this is what you need to do at this time. This is where you need to be at the ice. This is how quick you need to get there. And then from there, either look to pass or to shoot, sort of deal. Like, they have to be in that mindset where they're all obviously doing their individual jobs on the ice, but working towards the one thing, which is, scoring, obviously. But they got to know their roles. And I think with these couple of days of off practice, they're gonna come back a brand new team, dude.
Let's go.
Fucking go, baby.
Canadiens in Montreal on Thursday. Sam and Joe ready to go on the call.
Let's go, dude.
Michael Bunting. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the new bites coming out. Obviously, I might have overdone them last night on Gaming Corner, but such a good time. And I will do my best to next Gaming Corner to contain myself with the voice. It seemed like Tony was getting a little frustrated, to say the least.
It was a tight game, dude. It was a tight game.
Taking off the headset in disarray.
Disarray, dude.
So, obviously another great show today. And we're up to, you think about the last 2 days, I mean, we're basically 3 hours of content. So if anybody missed any part of this show, any part of yesterday's show, definitely check that out, as well as what's on the horizon today.
Yeah, dude. We have Gaming Corner coming up at noon, dude. Yeah, sorry.
Bite.
We really should, dude. I'm just so hooked on Gaming Corner. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have screen time
MLB.
coming up at noon, dude.
Want to play MLB?
Honestly,
9 innings.
maybe screen time will just be Gaming Corner. Really, psych, dude. Dude, really, the 9 innings is so much
the managing,
fun,
the bullpen,
the
pitch runners,
dude.
the situational hitting.
Why are you taking your warm-up pitches?
Yeah, why are you taking your warm-up pitches?
Everyone has a different release point, okay, Brian? You gotta get used to it.
Of course, you're right.
All right, so screen time coming up at noon. Dude, screen time coming up at noon. We're talking, The Last of Us episode 7 recap. I don't know if you knew this, but episode 8 is the last episode of the season, coming out next Sunday, dude. So big episode 7 setup episode, as well as episode 1 of season 3 for the Mandalorian review. A couple of trailers coming out as well. We're going to take a look at. It's going to be a great time. Tony's going to be in studio. Manny is on assignment, actually, so we won't be here. So it's going to be the Tony show, dude.
Wow.
It's going to be a great time, dude. I think, we got some great discussions. If you stick around, tune in, comment, you can call in as well. We can open up that dialogue, and just have a great time.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And then we're going to have, another awesome show coming up tomorrow. We will preview the Players Championship.
Wow, dude.
From Point de Verde, Florida, TPC Sawgrass. Did you see the thing I tagged everyone in on the 17th hole there, the Island Green?
No.
You've seen the Island Green before, though, right?
Yes.
Do you have to look at it, though, because they did something where they had a full day of amateurs playing the course. Everybody trying to hit that green. Everyone's like, wow, like this is like a lot smaller than it looks like on TV. It really, really is something. And maybe one of these days we'll play. Not that it's really anywhere close to the level of that one, but in Wallingford, it's the Tradition is what it's called. And they have like kind of something similar there, Island Green. So just makes it kind of fun,
Yeah, I can't find that tweet, dude. But yes, I'm all about it, dude.
I hope you're studying
Wallingford, dude. Are we going right now? No John Ron picks?
No John Ron picks. I mean, it could be John Ron. I mean, struggled last week. You would think bounce back.
Rory,
you don't want to spoil it just yet.
No, I do my research first.
You know what's actually interesting before we close up here? I saw this morning. So Cam Smith won the Players Championship last year. Obviously not eligible to participate this year, being on the Live Tour. There's rumors that he might show up on property as a spectator.
Is he allowed to?
I guess technically, right? I mean, there's no. They never said he couldn't watch, and I think they'd have a legal battle on their hands if they tried to prevent that.
Really,
but, just thinking about that, it is a shame that he won't be there to defend his title. But who knows? Maybe they'll, sort something out in the coming years to get everybody back together. But that is going to be a fun show talking about that. So I want you to study up. I'm expecting a creative pick here out of you, Tony. We know TPC, the players. And how about this? No one has won back-to-back Players Championships.
Really?
And obviously that will continue this season.
Won't happen this year, yeah. That's so tough, dude.
But who knows? So that'll be fun. But once again, what a great show today. We really appreciate everybody tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Checking out the archives on the YouTube page. Tony, Michael, Renee in costume. The merch at downtimetv.com. The spring collection is here. We want everybody to enjoy their day, enjoy screen time, and we will see you.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.